All right. Shiyu, welcome to the Red Road East. I am your host, Fierce Truth Seeker. I deeply apologize for not being able to be on the air this afternoon. The noise was so loud outside that I would not have been able to produce a quality video for you all. And even now, there's still a lot of noise outside, but it's much quieter than it was earlier. Okay. So I deeply apologize. And even before, when I tried to go live at 11:15 tonight, just now, the music got real loud again. Again, I'm in the Boogie Down Bronx, right in the heart of the Bronx. Okay. And it's noise 24 hours, 7 days a week. People outside partying, people outside fighting. You know, some guy's got his foot in his woman's behind, or people are outside throwing bottles at each other. You know, it's nonstop. And as bad as it is, it was even worse before COVID. Before COVID, it was much louder, a lot more people on the street. Every other night, the convenience store across the street was getting stuck up at gunpoint. Okay, it's just crazy. Also, right now, in terms of right now, it was hard to do the live because right now we are in a Mercury retrograde cycle. For those who don't know what Mercury retrograde is, I suggest that you find out because it definitely has an effect on you, whether you acknowledge it or not. Okay, we'll talk about that another time. Okay, give me 1 second. Yeah, so I see we have one person in, and I'm not mad at anybody because I know that I was supposed to have been on much earlier. Okay. Anyway, so this particular presentation is sermon number 3, second topic. Okay. Say of sacred Sundays, sacred sun days. Okay. And this is when the sacred becomes profane. Understanding how undermining our indigenous traditions affect the community. Okay. And I want to start off by talking about a Shawnee prophet by the name of Tenskwatawa. Okay. And I'm going to share the screen with you. Okay. So, Tenskwatawa, who was the brother of Tecumseh, was best known as a powerful medicine man, as the Shawnee prophet. Okay. Or should I say, was best known as a medicine man known as the Shawnee prophet, once named La Lathika, which means who holds, he who makes a loud noise, due to his habit of bragging about himself. This man was given the new name of Tenskwatawa, which means the open door, after having a vision of heaven. This is a drawing of Tenskwatawa. There are different drawings by different artists, but this is one here. Okay. It says here, the decade following the Treaty of Greenville was not a happy time for the maturing Lawatheke. Lawathika. No longer a child, he now was forced to leave his sister's family and make his way in the world. During this period, he took a wife and sired several children, but his growing family demanded support, and Lalawethika was ill equipped to provide for them. He made a desultory attempt at hunting, but the deer herds were diminishing, and he often returned to his lodge empty handed. Pardon me for the slow reading. This font is very small, and as y'all know, the fierce truth seeker refuses to wear glasses. I want to exercise my eyes and not be dependent on any reading glasses. Anyway, drowning his sense of failure, Lalawethika turned more and more to whiskey, a response that only angered his wife and did little to resolve his problems. Finally, after settling on the White River, Lalawethika became acquainted with Penagashia, or Changing Feathers, an old Shawnee highly respected as a prophet and medicine man. At first, Panagashia disliked the alcoholic young braggart, but eventually the two men became friends. And although Lalawethika had not experienced a vision, the aging Shawnee evidently shared some of his knowledge of medicine with him. In 1804, Panagashia died, and when Lalawethika attempted to take his place and cure the Shawnees, the aspiring new medicine man met with little success. In early 1805, the white man's illness again spread through the Shawnee village. Some who received Lalawethica's herbs and incantations recovered, but many did not. Meanwhile, many tribesmen questioned if a man who so often had broken the sacred Shawnee laws could ever wear the mantle of healer or prophet. The winter of 1804 to 1805 seemed endless to the Shawnee. In addition to the usual icy nights and dreary, overcast days, another of the white man's nameless diseases had ravaged through their midst in February and March, taking the lives of the old and weak and debilitating even the strongest of warriors. By early April, the illness, probably influenza, had run its course, and although nights remained cold, the afternoon sunshine hinted that spring was imminent. In the Shawnee village, a heavy-set man of 30 years sat cross-legged before the hearth of his wegiwa, a blanket wrapped around his shoulders against the chill of the approaching evening. During the recent epidemic, he had treated his ailing kinsman, but with little success. Pondering the causes of his failure, he knew that other Shawnees considered him a ne'er do well, a man who flagrantly violated sacred tribal laws. Because of his boastfulness, they had nicknamed him Lalawethica, he who makes a loud noise, a name he did not relish. As he reflected on his sins, the Shawnee reached into the fire and withdrew a branch, intending to light the tobacco in the long stemmed pipe in his lap. But as he raised the pipe to his lips, Lalawethica gasped, dropped the blazing twig, and toppled over on his side. Believing her husband to be seriously ill, his wife fled from the lodge to summon help from their neighbors. Lalawethica lay sprawled by the fire, as still as death. And Lalawethica's wife and neighbors rushed back into the lodge. They found the Shawnee still prostrate before the fire. Although his wife spoke to him, he did not answer. Other tribesmen rolled the Shawnee over on his back, but his eyes remained closed and he did not seem to be breathing. Believing the man to be dead, neighbors led his grieving wife from the Wegiwa and made plans to wash the body in preparation for the 2 day period before burial. Before the funeral arrangements were completed, the assembled Indians gasped in amazement as the supposedly dead Lalawethica first stirred, then awakened. Although dazed, he obviously was very much alive. Slowly regaining his senses, Lalawethica told a strange tale of death, heaven, and resurrection. The Shawnee claimed that the Master of Life had sent two handsome young men to carry his soul into the spirit world, where he had been shown both the past and the future. Although the Master of Life did not allow Lalawethica to enter heaven, he was permitted to gaze on a paradise, which he described as a rich, fertile country, abounding in game, fish, pleasant hunting grounds, and fine cornfields, a realm where the spirits of, of virtuous Shawnees could flourish, pursuing the same course of life which characterized them here. They could plant or hunt or play at their usual games, and in all things could remain un and in all things could remain unchanged. But not all Shawnee spirits proceeded directly to heaven. The souls of sinful tribesmen also followed the road toward paradise. But after glimpsing the promised land, they were forced to turn away and enter a large lodge where an enormous fire burned continually. Here the sinners were subjected to a fiery torture in accordance with their wickedness. The most evil were reduced to ashes. Unrepentant drunkards were forced to swallow molten lead until flames shot forth from them until flames shot from their mouths and nostrils. Lesser offenders had their limbs burnt, but all evildoers were compelled to repeat their suffering until they atoned fully for their sins. Finally, they would be permitted to enter heaven, but could never share in all the pleasures enjoyed by more virtuous tribesmen. As he finished his story, Lalawethica began to weep and tremble. Overcome by emotion, he vowed to renounce his evil ways and never again drink the white man's whiskey. A changed man, he no longer was the drunken braggart known as Lalawethica. Henceforth, he would be called Tenskwatawa, the open door, a name symbolizing his new role as a holy man, destined to lead his people down the narrow road toward paradise. Some of his audience remained skeptical, but many others were convinced of his sincerity and readily subscribed to the new prophet's doctrines. In the following months, Tenskwatawa experienced additional visions and enlarged on his doctrine of Indian deliverance. Other Shawnees, demoralized by the changes swirling around them, flocked to the new Messiah, seeking stability in a world of chaos. Since the Shawnee social and political systems could not cope with the onrushing frontier, they grasped at the hope that the Master of Life had provided Tenskwatawa with a new faith to revitalize his chosen people. During the summer of 1805, Moravian missionaries in eastern Indiana reported that their congregations were shrinking in the face of a renewed heathenism spreading through the nearby Indians. Meanwhile, the prophet and his followers left the White River to establish a new village near Greenville in western Ohio. In late November 1805, the new Shawnee holy man met with delegations of Shawnees, Ottawas, Wyandots, and Senecas at Wapakoneta. I'm sorry, Wapakoneta on the Auglaize River, where he expounded on his religion at some length. Since his initial vision in April, several similar experiences had provided Tenskwatawa with additional insights, which he incorporated into a well defined pattern of religious and social doctrines. Much of the prophet's dogma attached the doctrine of traditional moral values among the Shawnees and neighboring tribes, declaring he was particularly appointed to the office by the Great Spirit. Tenskwatawa asserted that his sole object was to reclaim the Indians from bad habits and to cause them to live in peace with all mankind. First and foremost, he denounced the consumption of alcohol, admitting that he once had been a drunkard. Tenskwatawa asserted that he now was cured and would never again partake of the white man's firewater. He warned the tribesmen that frontier whiskey was poison and accursed, and described in vivid detail the special tortures awaiting the souls of unrepentant alcoholics. Moved by the Shawnees' exhortations, many of the audience were greatly alarmed and vowed to follow the prophet's example. And I'm going to stop right there. Okay, let me stop sharing. And we will talk about Tenskwatawa more at length in the future. Okay. And before I proceed, for those who are listening who are generous enough and moved to leave a donation, I'm leaving a link in the chat. Okay. And so, as you all know, things like alcoholism, various types of addiction, whether it be alcohol, whether it be, see, there's lots of forms of addiction, alcohol, crack, marijuana, cigarettes, gambling, okay, many forms of addiction, okay. And I brought up Tenskwatawa's story because it leads into the topic of what we're talking about in this particular discussion. Okay. And in our communities, you see lots of types of addictions, on the reservation, you see, oh man, it's just ravaged every reservation, particularly alcohol, but nowadays many and just the same addictions that we have here in the inner cities with among those of us who don't live on the reservations, the urban Indians, they have the same issues there, and even worse, that's a fact. Okay. And these things are spiritual. When you have addictions, these things are spiritual in nature. Okay. Now, this may sound spooky or whatever, but if you're going to call yourself indigenous or whatever, and you don't believe in the spiritual, then don't call yourself indigenous, because that is very much a part of the indigenous reality and indigenous culture. Okay. And I'm telling you that these things are spiritual in nature, and there are spirits that govern these different behaviors that plague people. Okay. And what you find today is that a lot of things that we do for recreation were once things that were sacred. Okay. Things that were sacred. However, we've made them recreation, and then they have become profane. Hence the title of this particular discussion. Okay. A lot of people smoke cigarettes, smoke weed, things of that nature. Those things were, when they passed around the peace pipe, okay, they weren't just smoking to get high. Okay. These were ritualistic practices, and they didn't smoke it habitually. Okay. These things were done during ceremony. If you had a particular purpose for doing it, to make contact with the divine, or some other type of purpose, but it was always functional. Okay. Not just recreational. Okay. So, when people have a lack of knowledge of self, then you do things that are toxic to your mind, body, and spirit, with no meaning behind it. Okay. And you do things because you want to deal with depression. You want to deal with, depression because of, whatever your particular circumstances are, setbacks, and things of that nature. And you try to find a coping mechanism. Okay. We don't even, we don't have things like rites of passage anymore. No type of guidance in that regard into traditions and things of that nature. you know let's take alcohol for example, right? People drink alcohol for recreation, but alcohol is used heavily in rituals. Okay. Heavily. Anyone who's ever practiced like Afro Caribbean, what they call Afro Caribbean spiritual systems, you know that, you drink that alcohol, you sip that alcohol, and you spray that rum. Okay. That's how you activate those spirits. Okay. That's what the spirits want. Okay. You begin your ceremony, give that rum. You do it all the time in the street, in the hood, and don't even know that that's what you're doing. Okay. When your homies pass away, okay, and you take a sip of that 40 and you pour some on the ground, that's what they call a libation. Okay, that's called a libation. You're pouring alcohol to the spirits, okay, of those who passed on. Okay, and spirits love alcohol. And when you look at that word, alcohol, okay, alcohol, well, first of all, even before that, let's not even talk about when you go to a liquor store, right? And you look up on the top of the store, right? What do you see? It says wine and spirits. Am I right or am I wrong? Wine and spirits. Why do they call it wine and spirits? Okay? Wine and spirits. That's because there's a spirit attached to every bottle of that liquor that you drink. Why do you think when you could have somebody that's very calm and hardly has much to say in social settings, right? But you let them start taking a few sips, they become a brand new person. Am I right or am I wrong? Okay, that same calm person that was calm and you know hardly hardly had two words to say, all of a sudden they're on the dance floor partying. All of a sudden that pretty little quiet girl is freak of the week. They black out. you know may go home with somebody they don't even know, may go in the bathroom with two or three guys and they just pound her out, and then she wakes up, didn't even know what happened, may wind up somewhere all the way across town, don't know how she got there. Y'all know what I'm talking about and have seen some of that stuff before, because some of you have been in the club and used to hang out in bars and things of that nature, and you've seen and even participated in some of that stuff. Okay, so I don't like to just talk. Fierce Truth Seeker doesn't like to just talk. So what I'm going to show you right now is concrete proof and evidence of what I'm saying. Okay, I'm going to share the screen with you right now, and we're going to take a look at what alcohol is. Watch this. Share the screen. Okay, and this says here the spiritual consequences of alcohol. Okay, I know a lot of y'all gonna be running now because some of y'all Negroes is got a bottle in the fridge y'all were just about to pick up. I'm just being silly, but it probably is true. All right, so as you look here, you see a little demon sitting right on top of this drunk person right here. Okay. Now, as I read on, it says here, hold on. It says, although it is mass produced, mass promoted, legal, and ingested by a multitude of people all over the world, most people don't even consider or understand the spiritual consequences of drinking alcohol. Let's begin by taking a look at the etymology of the word alcohol. Etymology means the root of the word, where it is derived. The word alcohol comes from the Arabic al-kul, which means body-eating spirit, and gives root origins to the English term for ghoul. In Middle Eastern folklore, a ghoul is an evil demon thought to eat human bodies, either as stolen corpses or as children. The words alembic and alcohol, both metaphors for aqua vitae or life water and spirit, often refer to a distilled liquid that came from magical explorations in Middle Eastern alchemy. In the words of writer and health enthusiast Jason Christoph, in alchemy, alcohol is used to extract the soul essence of an entity, hence its use in extracting essences for essential oils and the sterilization of medical instruments. By consuming alcohol into the body, it, in effect, extracts the very essence of the soul, allowing the body to be more susceptible to neighboring entities, most of which are of low frequencies. Why do you think we call certain alcoholic beverages spirits? That is why people who consume excessive amounts of alcohol often black out. See, saying the same thing I just told you, not remembering what happened. This happens when the good soul we were sent here with when we were born, the good soul, leaves because the living conditions are too polluted and too traumatic to tolerate. The good soul jettisons the body, staying connected to a tether, and a dark entity takes the body for a joyride around the block, often in a hedonistic and self-serving, illogical rampage. Our bodies are cars for spirits. It leaves, another can take the car for a ride. Okay, so I'm sorry, it says if one leaves, another can take the car for a ride. Essentially, when someone goes dark after drinking alcohol or polluting themselves in many other ways, their body often becomes possessed by another entity. Okay, so here, if anyone has ever been initiated into spiritual systems such as, like, let's say Santeria or Apollo, or any of the African spiritual systems, the things of that nature, you've seen people get what they call mounted or possessed. Okay, they call that person who's mounted, they call that the horse. Okay, and they get possessed by a spirit. They're not, that person's there but not there. Okay, another entity takes place and starts speaking and acting through that person. Okay? If you ever been to like a bembe or anything like that, you know what I'm talking about. So it says, I became aware of this phenomenon years ago when I was given a spiritual vision. In this vision, I was transported as an observer to be as an observer above a particular bar and nightclub. Above the venue were a variety of ghoul-like entities. Inside the bar were people drinking alcohol, socializing, dancing, and so on. I watched as certain people became very drunk. I saw their souls, while connected through a thread, exited the body. I understood that the soul was leaving the body because of the great discomfort of being in a body highly intoxicated with alcohol. When the soul exited the body, another non-benevolent other non-benevolent entities entered or latched onto their vacant shells. Once the entities took hold of the body, they used the body to play out all kinds of dark acts, such as violence, low-level sexual encounters, destructive behaviors, rape, and much more. Years later, while reading a book called Man's Eternal Quest by Paramahasha Yogananda, this spiritual master clearly explained the exact same thing as I was shown in the vision. I began to look back over my life and remember situations where I saw dark spirits hanging around people who had become very drunk. Let me elaborate a bit when I say I saw these entities. I have had the abilities of clairvoyance, which is the ability to perceive things beyond the natural range of the senses, which include ESP, or extrasensory perception, sixth sense, psychic powers, second sight, telepathy, and more. Clairvoyance, which is the ability to perceive sound. No, not clairvoyance. I'm sorry, clairaudience, which is the ability to perceive sounds or words from outside sources in the spirit world, and the experience of being spiritually intuitive and empath since childhood. I have the ability to see energies and spiritual manifestations that most people don't see. As I looked back over my life, I could remember many instances of encountering non-benevolent spirits in the presence of intoxicated individuals. I also have had experiences of looking into the eyes of a few people who were surely possessed by dark energies that were not their own. Also, I also remember a psychology course that I once took. In part of this course, we studied advertising and the effects on humans. We looked at the advertising for alcohol. A master teacher of this subject illuminated the fact that most alcohol advertisements are embedded with hidden messages and images not typically perceivable to the common sight, yet perceived through the subconscious. Knowing how powerful the subconscious is in our decision making, feelings, reactions, beliefs, etc., the slick sales teams of alcohol, as well as tobacco and other products, use this sinister technique to trick us into buying their products and joining the societal cult of mental apathy and cultural obedience. Many of these hidden messages and images were extremely sexual, working to influence some of the basest urges and primal nature of humans. Let this example bring you to a place of curiosity and questioning. Why have the marketing teams felt the need to trick us and coerce us through subliminal messages to buy products that are harmful to the human body and to our soul? How many times have you or someone you know, after becoming quite intoxicated with alcohol, behaved in a manner uncommon to them? Perhaps you experienced the changing of voice, violence, sexual promiscuity, ingesting of harmful substances, destruction to property, conflictual behavior, and other negative expressions. Consider these experiences and ask yourself, is this the manifestation of light, love, and positivity? Do these occurrences represent a path of consciousness and health? Let me pause for a second. Alcohol, especially for those of you who are listening who are American Indian, okay, you definitely, there's already been studies saying that American Indians should not drink. And I know this for a fact because I know it from my own family, okay? And it has plagued members of my own family, okay? So I can tell you, definitely American Indians should leave that stuff alone, just like the Shawnee prophet who I was telling you all about earlier said. Leave that stuff alone. Okay? So it says here, it is known by many that ingesting alcohol depresses the nervous system, kills brain cells, is toxic to the liver, weakens the immune system, and has many other harmful effects. We are taught that long-term alcohol use can lead to unwanted weight gain. And this is true. I know many people that I've grown up with, okay, who are like 3, 4 times the size that they were just due to alcohol. Okay. Unwanted weight gain, disease of the liver, lowering of intelligence, and negative effects on hormones. Drinking alcohol while pregnant can lead to birth defects, mental retardation, and deformities in the developing fetus. Yet still, it is mass promoted and supported by our mainstream culture. Have you ever considered that alcohol is a slick tool of the supporters of the Matrix, global mind control, and oppression program to keep people on a path of disempowerment and sickness? I see people are dropping off from the live. And that's because y'all know that y'all got that liquor in your refrigerator and you about to drink it. Uh-huh. Gotcha. Stepped on some toes. That's good because that's what I want to do. That's exactly what I want to do. I don't want a lot of numbers. Okay. We have to ask, why is alcohol legal throughout most of the world? Yet in many countries, and specifically the United States, psychedelics are illegal. The conscious and safe use of psychedelics or visionary medicines are known to assist in mind expansion, to initiate spiritual experiences where people have communed with the divine, healed numerous physical and spiritual ailments, increased intelligence, help to repattern the brain in a positive way, assist people in ailing with their soul's purpose, and have inspired many people to create great works of art and other innovative creations. It seems that these substances would definitely be banned and discouraged if there truly was an agenda seeking to oppress the human potential and to keep us in the dark regarding who we are as spiritual beings, our innate potential, and the path to empowerment. As we strive to heal, awaken, and transform our world, I pray. Well, we won't need that part. I got to the main part of, let me see. Oh, wait, hold on. Let's see. I got a lot to share. We're going to have to actually do this in a couple of parts. Okay, little mayhem, Wild Indian TV. I'm going to get to marijuana pretty soon. I'm just finishing up with alcohol right now. I'll be with you in a few. Just hold tight. Let me just finish this right here. It says here, yeah. So alcohol. So it says, before closing this writing, I want to share a little more on the history of the word alcohol. There has been some people who look into the etymology and discover this explanation. Alcohol, noun, 1540s, early 15, as alcohol. Alcohol, fine powder, produced by sublimation from medieval Latin alcohol, powdered, or of antimony from Arabic al-kul, coal, the fine metallic powder used to darken the eyelids, from kahala, to stain, paint. Paracelsus, 1495 to 1541, used the word to refer to a fine powder, but also a volatile liquid. By 1670, it was being used in English for any sublimated substance, the pure spirit of anything, including liquids, a sense of intoxicating ingredient in strong liquor is first recorded in 1753, short for alcohol wine, which was extended to the intoxicating element in fermented liquors. In organic chemistry, the word was extended 1850 to the class of compounds of the same type as this. Upon further research, we can find that in ancient Egypt, the eyes of both men and women were lined top and bottom with a thick powder known as kohl, kajal, or nestemet. The outlined eye resembled the almond shaped eye of the falcon god Horus, believed in the eye of Horus glyph. Observed in the eye of Horus glyph. It was believed that this shape invoked the god's protection and warded off evil spirits. Yet, if we were to dig deeper, as a true scientist, researcher, or truth seeker does, you will also discover these interesting facts. Dr. Rachel Hajat, an accomplished modern day editor, author, and medical advisor, while researching an article on alcohol for her online medical journal found additional meanings in ancient Arabic texts. Alcohol, genie or spirit that takes on varied shapes, or a supernatural creature in Arabic mythology. Alcohol, any drug or substance that takes away the mind or covers it. 4. The word alcohol is linked to the fixed star in astronomy known as Algol, also known as the demon's head. 5. The current Arabic name for alcohol, ethanol, algol, properly meaning spirit or demon. It is not a coincidence that alcohol has often been referred to as spirits. There is a deep history behind this intoxicating substance. There are layers of information throughout our culture. Sometimes we have to look below the surface of things to find the fullness of truth. I encourage you to deeply consider the information, blah, 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 blah. Let's see, was there more in this one? Yeah, that was it for this particular. Okay, now let's proceed to the next. Let's see, stop sharing. Cut that. Okay. And let me find the next one. Give me 1 second. I'm just pulling up stuff here. Okay. So, like I said before, when all you got to do is go in a liquor store and you'll see what I'm talking about. These different alcoholic beverages have spirits attached to them. Okay, I'm going to show you something here on the screen. Here is a vodka. I'll show you this here. Share screen. Okay, this is a vodka. And this one is called Evil Spirits Vodka. So for once, the scariest part about drinking vodka isn't you. Okay? Now, if you look on the cover here, you look at under where it says Evil Spirits Vodka, you even have a Ouija board. Okay? Because when you play with the Ouija board, it has these alphabets here. It has the yes and the no. Then at the bottom, the goodbye when you're closing out. Okay? So why do they have liquors with Ouija boards? Okay? And it's called Evil Spirits right there. Okay? Yes, FaceTime radio, it's definitely occult knowledge that they're using against us. And why is it that in our neighborhoods you find more liquor stores than anywhere else? Damn near on every corner. You see what I'm saying? Let me see here. Show you another one. Let me stop sharing this one. Give me 1 second. Oh, some of this stuff is going to blow y'all away. Let's see here. 1 second. Pull this up. Give me 1 second. I'm just pulling up these different pages here so that I could share with y'all. Like I said, I got a lot to share. I may not even be able, I definitely won't be able to share everything tonight because I got a lot. I pulled up a lot of this stuff. Let's see here. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Don't go anywhere. You know, Fierce Truth Seeker likes to present the receipts for y'all. Okay. I don't like to just talk. Because anybody could just come up here and just, just talk. And that's not what it's about. It's about, proving what you're saying, producing receipts. Okay. So give me 1 second. Okay, that's another one. Just putting all of these pages out so that I could share them. Okay. Here we go. Oh, wait a minute. Let's see. Okay, that's that. And that one. Give me 1 second. Oh, got that one already. Okay. Now let me pull up another. Don't go anywhere. That's another one. Okay. Don't go anywhere. Okay. Is that it? Let me see. All right. One more. Second. Don't go anywhere. Okay. Oh, that's why. Okay, yeah. Now I got it. Okay. Share screen. Just give me a second. This is a little bit slow. Buffering for a second, but it's coming. It's going to get good. It's going to get good. I guarantee you. I guarantee you. You're going to enjoy this. Okay, I think I got it. Let's see. All right. Now, this particular rum, this is a rum. And this rum here, let me share screen. Share screen, share screen. Okay, share screen. All right. So now, this particular rum here is called Pirate rum. Okay. And if you look at this particular rum, you see there's a spirit right here. You see where my pointer is? There's a spirit right there. Okay. And on the bottle, you see in this round circle, you see a particular spirit. Okay. And there's also a booklet right here that tells you about the spirit. Okay. And I'm going to share with you that booklet. I'm going to read to you what's the contents of that booklet. Give me 1 second. Let's see. Share screen. Share. Let me see. Okay, I guess I got to stop sharing that one in order to share that one. Okay, share screen, and let's see. Okay, now here is the inside. This is, it says here, the story of the Pirate rum, Halti. Halti is the omniscient, unmistakable figure on the medallion that adorns every bottle of Pirate rum. Where did Halti come from? And why is this ancient Asian deity the joyous symbol of our ultra premium rums? The story of Halti begins with the origin of rum. Today, it is widely known that the finest rums in the world are produced in the Caribbean, but the roots of this exceptional spirit trace back to early Asia, where the scholars agree that the first distillation of sugarcane juice was produced. The tall, thick sugarcane grass was first cultivated in the islands of present day Indonesia in the East Indies and then introduced to other parts of Asia and India by Chinese traders. And so the history of rum is much the history of sugar in Asia. Hoti honors Asia's preeminent and important role in the origins of this popular spirit and fittingly embodies what makes Pirate the enlightened ultra premium dark rum. The Halti Monk is the patron saint and Zen protector of fortune tellers and bartenders. This socially enlightened mystic, often considered the god of contentment and happiness, is always depicted with a cheerful smile, a bald head, and a pot belly, which symbolizes the largeness of his soul, not to mention his appetite for fine tipple. Ancient scrolls tell of Halti's fondness for libations, and he is commonly seen carrying a large sack that never empties, from which he generously disperses food, drink, and other treasures, while he generously bestows clairvoyant wisdom, charm, and intelligent wit on all those he meets. According to legend, Hoti is also a soothsayer himself, whose perceptive, awakened predictions always come true, much like bartenders today. Pirate rum, pirate rums were truly created in the spirit of Hoti to invoke happiness, prosperity, and good cheer to enlightened people across the globe who appreciate and understand sophisticated, refined, high quality spirits. Buy a stranger a good drink, and they will be a stranger no longer. Hoti. Okay, so you know, and there's a whole lot more, a whole lot more. Uh, but I'm gonna have to put it there because I really am over the time, and I was only supposed to go like half an hour, and we're over an hour. So we'll continue that. We'll continue this on the next Sunday, okay? Or I may even go one day in the middle of the next one day, maybe in the next few days. I might do that. Yeah. Okay. But I thank everyone for joining. Okay. And till the next time, da da da, gone, e.